Welcome to Agentic Ethical AI Leadership and Human Wisdom. This is not just another AI podcast. Here we talk about the decisions that will define whether humanity thrives or becomes obsolete in the age of AGI. The biggest risk in AI isn't not enough data. It's what happens when powerful systems lack grounding, motivation drift, bias amplification, and decisions no one can explain. Today, I'll show you a different path, how to build AI like a living university, not a bigger brain. Imagine a huge house built by stacking more and more bricks. Each brick is a data point. The logic is simple. More bricks equals a bigger house. The problem? No real foundation. When a storm comes, manipulation, bias, weird edge cases, the house shakes. When something breaks, we stick patches on the walls. Filters, after the fact rules. That works a bit until the next storm. Today's large language models, or LLMs, are trained on massive text corpora. They're excellent at pattern continuation, not at modeling motivation, intent, or epistemic integrity. Safety is often layered after training, like reinforcement learning from human feedback or guardrails. So failure modes are reactively handled. At scale, we see emergent bypasses, jailbreaks, reward hacking, role play, prompt injection. These are symptoms of agency drift in open-ended systems. The bottom line, bigger models without a foundation give you more answers, not better orientation. Instead of building a giant house without a foundation, think of building a university. A university has a campus charter, a set of values, rules, and exam criteria. This is the ethical and epistemic foundation. It has faculties, specialized departments like modular expert systems, a library to pull knowledge when needed, relying on retrieval instead of memorizing the entire internet, and textbooks, distilled, compact knowledge for efficient, smaller models that keep the essentials. Exidion implements this as an epistemic and psychometric alignment layer embedded into the AI lifecycle. It defines rubrics, orientation and coherence criteria, and multidimensional scores for psychology, motivation, and bias. Early signal monitors detect drift and lapses, converting these into machine-readable signals used during training, inference, and governance. Here's how it works, step by step. Step 1, the foundation, is writing the campus charter. This includes human values, consent principles, developmental logic, and bias awareness. Think of it like strict building codes. You can't add floors unless the base is safe. Step 2 is testing on existing models. Before building our own, we attach Exidion's foundation to other AIs and run real-world stress tests with manipulative prompts, cultural bias checks, and ethically tricky cases. If warning lights go off, we know the rules are effective. Step 3 involves building faculties, modular experts specializing in psychology, ethics, governance, culture, and eventually law and medicine. Exidion routes questions to the right faculty instead of letting one giant brain handle everything. Step 4 uses the library. The system pulls verified knowledge sources on demand rather than trying to memorize everything. This approach is safer and more efficient. Step 5 is writing textbooks, compressing learned knowledge into compact, teachable formats so smaller models operate safely and efficiently. Technically, this process transforms human-defined rubrics into multi-dimensional scores, converts those into numeric vectors, the native language of models, and uses early signal monitors to detect drift or lapses. These triggers enable interventions like blocking, rerouting, explaining, or escalating responses. Why not just bolt a filter on top? Because at frontier scale, models learn to bypass shallow filters. Embedding rubrics and monitors directly into training and inference makes structural safety not cosmetic. This architectural shift, from patches to foundation, is what sets Exidion apart. 3 key tactics enable this. First, mixture of experts, or MoE, is a team of specialist models coordinated by a router. This is easier to audit and safer by design than a single all-knowing model. Second, retrieval-augmented generation, or RAG, pulls information from a trusted library at answer time, reducing hallucinations and improving governance by pointing to sources. Third, distillation compresses expert knowledge into compact models, allowing deployment of smaller, efficient, and controllable AI. The training loop involves curated data stressing bias-sensitive and cultural scenarios, rubric-constrained learning, treating adherence as measurable signals, and early signal metrics tracking risk. Governance legible logs ensure every intervention is explainable and auditable. This approach differs markedly from traditional methods. No more guardrails or post hoc reinforcement learning fixes. Exidion embeds rubrics, scoring, and early monitors directly into the core training and inference, with intervention hooks and audit trails. It also goes beyond principle lists by quantifying motivation, bias, and developmental context. Unlike mere monitoring dashboards, Exidion explains and intervenes, routing to experts, pulling verified sources, and requiring consent, all recorded in governance-readable logs. Simply put, Exidion is not a filter, but a foundation, not a dashboard, but a driver's ed program with breaks, rules, and a black box explaining every decision. Why start overlaying on existing AIs? Because that's the responsible way to prove value and learn fast. Phase 1 runs Exidion overlays on existing models, catching manipulation, reducing bias, and explaining decisions. Early overlay pilots have improved bias catch rates and provided clearer explanations, reducing hallucinations on policy-style queries using retrieval-augmented generation. Phase 2 validates rubrics and monitors through hundreds of stress tests, avoiding costly trillion-token budgets. Governance legible logs ensure every intervention is explainable and auditable. Operators report higher confidence and trust in AI systems when governance-readable logs are available, even before full integration of the Exidion architecture. Phase 3 adds faculties and a library, scaling capability without huge data needs. Phase 4 integrates this architecture for next-gen AI, where safety is baked in. Key takeaway: we don't need infinite data. We need the right structure guiding efficient learning. Practical examples include human resources screening, where Exidion checks hiring decisions for bias and consent, explaining risks, and requiring human confirmation when issues arise. In customer support, a bank chatbot recognizes distress and switches to de-escalation experts while detecting social engineering attempts. For governance, Exidion runs periodic health checkups to detect drift before problems reach customers, with playbooks for rollback or human intervention. For leaders and organizations, Exidion offers explainability visible to boards with logs, rubrics, and interventions. It lowers risks by warning early about drift or ethical lapses. It emphasizes human-centered products reflecting consent and cultural context. Adoption is modular, starting with overlays, adding faculties for precision, and growing purpose-built safe systems. Exidion is also designed for global regulatory fit. Its rubrics and logs align with frameworks like the EU AI Act, NISTAI Risk Management, and ISO/IEC Safety Guidance. Culture-aware scenarios reduce geography-specific failures, enabling responsible deployment worldwide. In brief, Exidion translates human factor safety into artifacts that regulators and boards can actually read. Common objections? 1. Why not just use one giant smart model behind experts? Because monolithic models subvert controls at scale. Modular experts with embedded rubrics are auditable and resilient. 2. Don't you still need tons of data? Some data is needed, but Exidion scales smartly using MOE, RAG, and distillation, not brute force. 3. Is this practical? We're starting now on existing models, proving impact with pilots, and integrating where safety demands it. Exidion is a nonprofit association by design. We're inviting core members and philanthropic partners to help build the only realistic, humane architecture for AI. Why a nonprofit? Mission Lock prevents short-term exit pressure, keeping ethics non-negotiable. IP clarity ensures BrandMind retains pre-existing IP while Exidion deploys it for the public good. Trust is fostered through an independent board majority, conflict of interest policies, open reports, and permissive licensing. We're supported by core members and philanthropic partners, aligning mission integrity with market impact through BrandMind collaborations. Exidion is a living university for AI. We're onboarding core members, philanthropic partners, and collaborating with organizations for governance-readable safety without the myth of infinite data. Visit our website for open roles and partnership options. Help us build the faculty and the future.